All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're taking a close look at the human body, but we're going to think of it like a sprawling metropolis. Think about it. A city needs roads, it needs cargo, security, sanitation. Well, your body is no different. It requires a flawless delivery and waste removal system for trillions of living cells, and it has to run constantly without a single break. To make sense of this incredible biological logistics network, here is our roadmap. We'll start with the transport network, zoom in to blood as our courier, look at the heart as the ultimate pump, trace the highways of our vessels, and finally uncover the lymphatic system. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the body's transport network. Look, we've got trillions of cells, and they desperately need a non-stop supply chain just to stay alive. Enter our closed circulatory system. Unlike some insects where fluid kind of just sloshes around in open spaces, ours is highly controlled. We've got about 5 to 6 liters of fluid literally locked inside specific vessels, meticulously shuttling nutrients and oxygen in from our lungs and gut, and dragging toxic carbon dioxide and nitrogen waste right back out. Moving right along to Section 2, blood, the fluid courier. Now that we've got the big picture of this closed loop, let's zoom in on the actual cargo. You know, blood isn't just some simple red liquid. It's actually a really complex, salty, slightly alkaline fluid. About 55% of it is this yellowish liquid we call plasma. The other 45%? Well, that's packed with microscopic cellular elements that are divided up into 3 highly specialized task forces. And the first of those task forces is absolutely brilliant from an evolutionary standpoint, our red blood cells. To carry as much oxygen as possible, as these cells mature, they actually ditch their nucleus and mitochondria entirely. I mean, they literally sacrifice their own internal cellular machinery just to make room to pack in more haemoglobin, that crucial oxygen-carrying pigment. But there's a pretty massive trade-off to this design. Because they threw out their nucleus, they have no way to repair themselves. So these microscopic delivery trucks have a super brief lifespan of just about 120 days. To put that into perspective, your body is destroying and replacing roughly 2 million of them every single second. Yeah, literally right now as we speak. Next up, we have the white blood cells. Think of these guys as the city's elite security forces. And what's wild is they aren't even confined to the blood vessels. They can actually squeeze themselves right through intact capillary walls, a process called diapedesis, so they can go out into your tissues and physically hunt down and engulf invading bacteria. It's like a microscopic stakeout. And this leads us to an incredible emergency repair protocol involving our third task force, platelets. When a vessel breaks, these guys initiate a really precise chemical cascade. First, they release thrombokinase, which eventually activates thrombin, which then turns soluble fibrinogen into this solid, sticky fibrin mesh. It literally weaves a net to trap blood cells and patch the leak in a matter of minutes. But here's the catch. This courier fluid is highly specific to you. If an emergency transfusion is ever needed, we absolutely have to respect the ABO blood groups. It all comes down to specific antigens and antibodies. Type O blood completely lacks surface antigens, making it the universal donor, whereas type AB has no antibodies in its plasma, making it the universal recipient. So, okay, we know what the couriers look like, and we know how they defend and patch things up. But here's the million-dollar question. What's driving this thick fluid through miles of complex city streets, completely fighting against gravity every single second of your life? Well, that brings us to Section 3, the heart, our ultimate pump. Enter the central pump station. Safely protected deep inside your chest cavity, your heart actually relies on a really clever asymmetrical design. If you look at the left ventricle, it has much thicker muscular walls compared to the right side. Why? Because it has to generate enough shear force to blast blood out to the absolute farthest points of your body, from your brain all the way down to your toes. And its efficiency is just staggering. It takes less than 1 single second, 0.85 seconds on average to be exact, for the heart to complete a full cardiac cycle of contracting and relaxing. And your brain isn't even micromanaging this rhythm. It's perfectly orchestrated by the heart's very own built-in pacemaker, the sinoatrial node. Oh, and that famous heartbeat sound? When a doctor listens to your chest, they aren't actually hearing the heart muscles flex. What they're hearing is the lub and dup of highly specialized one-way valves snapping shut with a sudden jerk. Those valves are there to guarantee blood only flows in one direction, preventing any backflow. So that heartbeat, it's just the sound of perfect mechanical precision. All right, on to Section 4, highways, vessels and circulation. To get from that central pump station all the way out to your trillions of hungry cells, the blood needs a crazy sophisticated highway system. The outbound lanes, the arteries, are built thick and muscular to handle massive high-pressure spurts straight from the heart. But the return routes, the veins, well, they're wider, operate under way less pressure, and actually use these thin, pocket-shaped valves to fight gravity as they slowly push the blood back up. But the actual delivery, the exact moment the cargo gets dropped off, happens in the capillaries. These are microscopic, incredibly narrow little tubes bridging the arteries and veins. And get this, their walls are literally just one single cell thick. That extreme thinness is absolutely crucial because it allows oxygen, nutrients, and waste to seamlessly diffuse directly into and out of your tissues. When you put it all together, it creates what we call our double circulation system. It's essentially two connected loops acting as one unified whole. The right side of the heart handles a short, low-pressure loop just over to the lungs to pick up oxygen. Then, that freshly oxygenated blood zips back to the left side, which handles the massive, high-pressure systemic loop to power everything else in your body. Which leads us to our final stop, Section 5, lymph, the hidden helper. Now, even with this perfectly sealed loop of arteries and veins, the intense pressure causes a little bit of blood plasma to naturally leak out into the surrounding spaces. We can't just have that fluid pooling up, right? So enter the lymphatic system. It's basically our crucial backup drainage and defense network. It catches this leaked fluid, which we now call lymph, filters it through lymph nodes where white blood cells trap and destroy infections, and then safely channels that clean fluid right back into your bloodstream. And the absolute largest organ in this hidden secondary system is the spleen. It is a total multitasking powerhouse. It acts as a blood reserve that can suddenly release extra volume during emergencies. It's a factory for protective lymphocytes. And actually, it's literally a graveyard that filters out and breaks down those worn-out 120-day-old red blood cells we talked about earlier. So ultimately, your everyday survival relies entirely on this synchronized partnership. On one hand, you have the high-pressure, rapid delivery blood network supplying all your immediate needs. And on the other, you've got the low-pressure, slow-draining lymphatic system backing it up as the ultimate cleanup and defense crew. It really is an absolute marvel of biological engineering. Trillions of cells, thousands of miles of vessels, all running flawlessly without a single conscious thought from you. But it does leave us with a massive question. When dealing with things like blood cancers, hypertension, or blocked coronary arteries, how exactly does modern medicine step in to fix a bodily metropolis that can never, ever afford to stop moving? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.